Welcome to Jay and Laura TV. We are Jay and Laura Laffoon here to answer your questions about marriage and relationships. And before we go any further, we seriously want to answer your questions. So send them via email, put them on Facebook. We're here to answer your questions because we want to help you live the best life you can and have the best marriage that you can.
So here is this week's question. We both feel criticized by the other. Sometimes it's real and sometimes it's just a perception. And therefore, often we are defensive with each other. What advice or thoughts do you have about this? Well, my first thought that I had is this. I try and get up every morning, and before my feet hit the floor, before my feet hit the floor, I almost said it again. Before my feet hit the floor, I try and think of something positive.
So some days it takes her a really long time to get out of bed.
I'm awake, but I'm still in bed for another 2 hours. Whether it's something positive about the day, positive about life, something to be grateful for, or something about your spouse. It looks like in this situation, you both feel criticized by the other person. So maybe you need to think of something first thing in the morning that you can be positive about with your spouse during the day, to encourage or to praise, but really taking that first thought in the morning and thinking something positive.
Secondly is tone of voice. And I have to be honest, this is something that I have struggled with my entire life. It's nothing I do intentionally. It's just apparently I can make people feel really stupid with my tone of voice because I'm like, really? You're thinking that? But no.
Or you're wearing that, or fix your hair, or what's wrong with your makeup, or any amount of things.
I don't know.
Yes,
Sorry.
He does say all of those things.
You have to watch your tone of voice. And I'm preaching to myself here. So, we're trying to make our marriage as best it can be. And I seriously have to watch my tone of voice. And I think one of the biggest things I'm trying to do also is to say please and thank you a lot. Because even if I have a bad tone of voice, but I say thank you at the end or please.
Fix your hair, please.
Would you please fix your hair? Anyway, tone of voice.
I like my hair. Anyway, the third piece of advice that we would have is to think before you speak. Now, I know for many people, I'm not going to, say it's all women, but for a lot of us, it is hard to think before we speak because what is in here is what comes out here. But we really
especially as we age.
It is as we age. But we really need to take the time to think before you speak. And especially when you're talking about feeling criticized and feeling defensive, is what I'm going to say, number one, is it true or is it just an emotion and a reaction that I'm having? Number two, is this going to build up my spouse or tear down my spouse? Because really, why do you want to tear down your spouse? Well, you want to be all about building each other up. So asking those two questions and thinking before you let those words come out of your mouth.
And here's another huge one, and that is the perceiving what is going on behind what is seen. For example, sometimes I criticize Laura because I'm upset with myself. I've never called my wife names, but I criticize her because of some fault that I have. And so perceive what's going on with your spouse. In other words, did your spouse have a bad day at work? And so intentionally or unintentionally, they're taking it out on you. Really try and look at the core of what this is. Is this a genuine criticism, or are they just spouting off because maybe they've had a bad day and they're feeling
that's important.
Yeah, they're feeling bad about themselves. I think probably more often than not, that's the source of the criticism. I know when I go through life and I'm feeling upset about my weight or some other issue in my life, I can become very critical of other people like that because it makes me feel better when it really doesn't. But bottom line is this. Take a look at those things, your tone of voice. You're looking for something positive instead of looking for something negative. And bottom line, ask, is this a true criticism or is it just lashing out? Well, we are Jay and Laura Laffoon. It is coming up on 4th of July.
That's right. Happy 4th of July.
We want to wish you a happy birthday, America, and we want to wish you guys all a great summer. Hope you're having a great summer. We sure are. And again, send us your questions. We want to answer your questions. We're Jay and Laura Laffoon. This is Jay and Laura TV, here to answer your questions on marriage and relationships.